was you with when you got tattooed? And who was you tripping with when you did them mushrooms? And who the fuck threw up all over your car and then felt worse than you about the shit in the morning?
Who loaned you money, homie? Who owes you cash? Who taught you how to use a barn for the grass? I don't know much, but I gotta assume that when you hit your first net, your homies was in the talk about homies, homies. Talk about what talks about.
Okay, it's Saturday again. Welcome to Derek's. I'm Mike.
I'm Derek.
And today, last week, I read an article that the Beloit chief of police wants people to volunteer for searches of their homes to find guns. Police in Beloit are launching a new effort to reduce gun violence in which they're asking city residents to volunteer to have police search their homes for guns. Police Chief Norm Jacobs, or as we'll call him from here on out, the gigantic dumbass, says he doesn't expect the phone to be ringing off the hook with requests for police to search their homes. It's probably wise. And a quote, gun violence is as serious as the Ebola virus is being represented in the media. We should fight it using the tools that we've learned from our health providers. Jacob said that he hopes some searches will result in the discovery of guns that they didn't know were in their own homes. He said that there's also a chance that they'll find guns linked to crimes. Okay, what idiot loses a pistol in a couch cushion?
Well,
I forgot that was there.
and who's gonna call and say, "Hey, look at my house for this illegal gun I have"?
Stupid people, because the other thing he says is maybe we'll find a toy gun that's been altered by a youngster in the house, and we know the tragedies that can occur there on occasion. I think possibly the tragedy he may be referring to is cops shooting children.
Yeah, well, that's obviously what he's going for. Once again, I don't understand who. I suppose, it could be parents who are calling in and having them search the house for children who are out causing problems.
Actually, I'm sorry. Finish.
And or it could be like roommates, who are concerned about their roommate who they probably should have kicked out months ago, but they're on lease and can't, have been out robbing gas stations or something. So I suppose in those instances it could. I mean, but the problem is nobody's gonna do it.
Well,
nobody criminal is gonna do it.
Right. And nobody law-abiding should do it. Because This is an excuse for a cop to get in your house and find whatever he can that's illegal and bust you for that. I don't think this really has much of anything to do with guns. This is about getting people to voluntarily give up their Fourth Amendment right.
I don't know. It's really weird that they would expect voluntary gun searches.
Well, especially in light of all the negative press cops have been getting anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because the violence, the shootings, the pet shootings, I can show you 100 videos of cops lying to people and treating them like shit. I can also show you videos of people baiting cops.
Yeah.
It does go both ways, but to be in a climate like that where the attitude towards the police is so negative, but to think it's a good idea to go, now let us search your homes like we're the fucking Gestapo.
I like how he's comparing it to the Ebola epidemic, which first of all was completely overblown. He's just.
A home inspection's like a vaccine to build up the city's immune system. What a fucking asshole. Just what an amazing asshole.
I think one of the problems is that he's just pulling straws because Beloit Beloit, for being the size it is, has crime like Chicago or Milwaukee. You know, the per capita, the crime per capita is just outrageous.
Ridiculous.
And it might be better now. It used to be just completely out of control. Beloit just used to be completely out of control. You know, I knew a guy who lived in Beloit, and he was walking down the street with his pit bull, and some guy pulled out a gun and shot his pit bull. Just out of the blue.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a regular citizen?
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. There might have been more to it, but he didn't say there was more to it.
Yeah.
But, you know, Beloit for years has been out of control, and that was back in the 90s. And one of the things that would interest me about this article was how much violent crime has decreased in this nation since like 1993. They said it was 49% lower in 2010 than it was in 1993.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Because you know, crime, like we were saying, crime in this area has actually gone up. Violent crimes has gone up over the last few years. But I was
right. Well, I think
a
part
lot
of
of
it
that is due to New York getting under control.
Yeah. Well, the crime rate's coming down doesn't surprise me, and neither does the fact that you don't really hear this statistic anywhere, because the cops don't want you to know that it's less dangerous than it used to be.
Yeah.
If it's less dangerous than it used to be, then they have no reason to have MRAPs. They have no reason to have body armor and automatic weapons and all this military grade shit that the Army just keeps handing them.
Well, one of the biggest reasons why I was surprised, because generally as a society becomes more disenfranchised, crime levels tend to increase.
Yeah.
And with the crash of the financial systems and everything.
Right. Well, and that is a comparison with 2010. That was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was right after everything just fucking nosed into the dirt.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean it's just silly. The Baraboo police are silly. Like I said, it sounds to me like they're just Beloit. Well, the Baraboo police are silly too.
Oh,
but
right.
the Beloit police
They're
are
so
just
hateful.
silly. And I generally like police. I know you've had much different
Well, I guess
interaction with them over the years.
that's yeah. The eating kitty litter incident, shit like that. Yeah. Well, here's my thing with cops. I don't hate cops, but I won't blindly trust cops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much one of those, if you have an encounter with the cops, videotape it kind of people, just so you have a record. I don't see it as making any kind of accusation of the cop. I'm still polite to the cop. I'm still, gonna act in a decent manner with the cop, but he's gonna be recorded, and if he tries to get me to give up, my rights, fuck him.
Mm-hmm.
I do not consent to searches. You are not looking through my shit. If you want to, I will sit here in the car and wait for you to get a fucking drug dog. But that's the only way you're gonna get in here, and that dog is gonna have to give a false positive.
Mm-hmm. And to the American people, stop giving up rights in general. I know it's scary out there with terrorism and feeling like people want to hurt you, but don't give up your rights, because that just opens a door that's going to allow.
Right. And if you have any questions, there's a site called flexyourrights.org. Go there, watch the videos. It's very informative. Alright, so who aggravates me? Exclusionary atheists. Or, until I can come up with a better word, a-hole theists. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. I think the entire notion is complete hooey. But I don't have a problem with religious people. Everybody should just believe what they want to believe and leave everyone else alone about it. My problem is with angry, litigious atheists. Guys who will show up at your, your town's Christmas display and go, that's religious and that violates my right to not see religious stuff. Frankly, those guys are pricks and they give the rest of us a bad name. I can't speak for anybody else, but I really think my atheism stems from two things. On one hand, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. God, some super being that created everything, but yet sent his son down to die. I'll believe it when I see it. Other than that, to me, just the idea of religion doesn't make sense. I don't want to say that it's stupid and you're a fucking idiot for believing what you believe, but I don't believe it. It doesn't make sense to me. The only thing I want from a religious person is the decency to leave me the fuck alone about it. If I want to know about your religion, I'll come and ask you about your religion. But if I haven't asked, keep it to yourself. Because I'm not going to tell you that you need to not believe in God either. Mm-hmm. But the people who just feel that it's like their weird vengeful duty to make religious people suffer, I think a lot of that stems from the same kind of shit I dealt with when I was younger. In high school, there were very religious people who were constantly trying to, get me over to their side. Oh, you gotta believe in God, otherwise you're gonna go to hell. You shouldn't like these things that you like because you're gonna go to hell. You should do these things that you enjoy doing because you're gonna go to hell. And it's not like we're talking about, I was doing heroin and fucking sacrificing goats to Satan and screwing 6 women in a fucking blood orgy in the middle of a goddamn cemetery. I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. For that, I was gonna go to hell. Mm-hmm. Whenever I did something nice for somebody, if I didn't do it in God's name, it didn't count. Yeah. And I'm going to hell. Because I specifically had those conversations with these people. Like, look, I don't believe in it, but it doesn't make me a bad person. I'll stop by the side of the road and help you out if your car's broken down, and God has absolutely nothing to do with it. You're still going to hell. Well, fuck you too, man.
Yeah. Really, getting on somebody for believing something is just as bad as getting on somebody for not believing in something. It's the same concept.
Well, it's hypocritical. And that's what I hate about these litigious atheists. They're doing the exact same thing that religious people did to us when we were younger. Doesn't it fall to us to be the better people, to rise above and go, you know what? I'm not going to push my shit on you. I don't believe what you believe in, but we can still shake hands, be friends, and leave fucking religion out of it. Instead, they want to be angry and push their beliefs on other people. And they got angry because other people were pushing their beliefs on them. So, how does you acting like that make any fucking sense?
That's kind of the American way, though, isn't it? Somebody's doing something that's bothering me, so I got to scream at them until I get my way, even though it's bothering them.
Oh,
it's the American way. I mean, it's
the guy that sees some kind of media and is offended by it, even though 12 million other people are okay with it, because that guy's offended. Suddenly they got to start pulling shit, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Or try and put a stop to it. And instead of being that prick, approach the people who are doing something that's bothering you and have a conversation about it. Not a screaming match. Not a, this is my opinion, and then you try and start your opinion, and I go, no, my opinion! Don't do that. Have a conversation. State your opinion. Let them state their opinion. You state a little bit more of your opinion. Let them state a little bit more of their opinion. And you go back and forth and you talk and you come to a reasonable
Middle ground.
conclusion to it. You know, even if you guys just agree to walk away not agreeing, that's a good place to end up. You know, holding all this anger and frustration at people for being who they are is not good for anybody. It's not.
No, not individuals, and it's not healthy for society either. You know, I mean, for as much as we want to tell ourselves that, you know, we are an enlightened society, we're kind of a lot of assholes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and thoughtless assholes. I mean, everything doesn't need to devolve into a screaming match.
No.
And
the sad thing is that they don't even devolve into screaming matches here.
it just starts out as a screaming match.
And it's like crazy. It's insane when you try and talk to somebody who doesn't agree with what you're trying to say.
Oh, and put it on Facebook and watch it get turned up to 11.
Or God forbid, start a news network. You know,
Screaming our opinions at you 24 hours a day.
And then invite somebody over who has a different opinion than they have, and put that one person in the middle of 4 other people who are screaming at them.
But it's fair and balanced.
Yeah.
They had the opposing opinion. The hell's your problem, you whiny fuck?
No!
You got your sandwich. But yeah, that's just where I go. Why can't we just be decent with one another? Because I don't have a problem with Christians. The holiday displays that you can't have Christian shit. Why are we excluding? Why are we including? You know, I mean, if you've got a problem with a nativity scene in front of the courthouse, well, then everybody should get to put something in front of the courthouse.
Sure.
You know, I will put in a nativity scene, a Kwanzaa bush, a nice, help me out, man.
An empty basket for atheists.
Yes. But that would be nice. Just a pillar with a spotlight and nothing. That would be perfect, man. We could put out a menorah, and we can find out what the hell Wiccans do and do something for that. You know, let's include everybody.
Well, the Christmas is really a Wiccan holiday, so they're already getting their trees.
And a Kwanzaa bush on either side of it. It's the great green wang display. You got a tree in the middle, Kwanzaa bush on either side.
It'd be nice. Togetherness.
With a yarmulke on top of it. You know what that represents.
Yeah.
The condom that God didn't use before he knocked up Mary. Irresponsible deities, I swear. Okay, so the Marvel Sony deal.
Yeah, so apparently, if people haven't heard, Sony and Marvel have officially made an agreement to share characters. Disney gets Spider-Man for at least the Civil War movie.
Yeah.
And then
Sony gets like two major
characters.
Marvel characters for one or two of their
the first
movies.
Spider-Man film for sure.
Yeah.
The first Spider-Man solo film. That's a good reboot. And then they each get 25% of the production of each of those two films. Sony retains the right to choose the actor to play Spider-Man and the costume for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Um,
which makes sense because they're gonna want to be able to tie that back into their solo movies.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's gonna need to work for what they need to do with it too, which is fine. I don't see a problem with that.
yeah. It's a good deal. I mean, it's especially good for the fans, but I think it works out really well for Sony. Sony has a real historical track of not having confidence in their films and having a lack of direction as far as what they want to do. And Marvel, on the other hand, has a very strong idea and a very focused direction.
And a really solid track record
Yeah.
of making movies. It's everything Marvel has done, bar one film, I have thoroughly liked. And even that one film, I was okay with. There was just a lot of things that bothered me about it on the way out the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's stuff that still bothers me. But generally speaking, I like everything that they've done so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I have very little to complain about as far as the Disney films for Marvel goes. And it's going to be exciting to actually see Spider-Man actually interact with other characters
From the Marvel U and
Yeah.
actually get it so he exists, which should be very, very cool. But I'd kind of like to go back to your thing with Sony's bad track record, because Amazing Spider-Man 2, I did not hate. There were things that I didn't like about it, but the initial, I'd say the first reel, I really dug.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very Spider-Man to me, just him web slinging through the city, being a smartass to all the bad guys, being kind of a smartass to the cops,
Mm-hmm.
and and getting it done in that Spidey style. And I really like that. That was the most a Spider-Man movie has ever reminded me of Spidey comics and why I enjoyed reading Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a superhero, but he's kind of a regular guy and kind of mouthy. So
Yeah, very mouthy.
it's great banter from him, which you don't get a lot of in the other Spider-Man movies. There was some in Amazing Spider-Man, but
Yeah, the Sam Raimi's, it was a little lacking.
yeah,
You could see where he tried to do it, but he ended up doing more musicals numbers than actual Spider-Man banter.
yeah.
Yeah, and there were other things too, like the
But
Gwen
he had
Stacy-
Randy Savage,
Yeah,
which I loved.
yeah. Especially the first film was great,
Yeah,
and the second film was really good too.
yeah. The third one was a smoking pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to lay any blame for that. Anyway, but Amazing Spider-Man 2 did have its problems. I disliked certain aspects of Electro's personality and the way he looked. They could have Hollywooded the character up without getting to the point of looking kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that costume design choice came from the Ultimates universe.
Yeah.
Which is where a lot of the Marvel movies have been drawing from, mostly because it's an updated version of the Marvel universe
Mm-hmm.
that they've been fleshing out. So I kind of get where they were going with it. It was definitely better than what it could have been. It could have had the 5 yellow electrical bolts coming from his head.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that it couldn't have been vastly worse. I'm just, I don't know. Sometimes too much CGI is just too much CGI. you saw the Green Lantern.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I felt like Electro's look was a little too much CGI. You know, I could have gone with a mellowed down version where it's his regular skin color, but like, you know, maybe some lightning crackling in his eyeballs, you know, or like arcing between his fingers or something, and just blasting with the electrical energy would have been fine. You didn't have to make him blue and crackly.
Yeah, I didn't mind that as much. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I also thought they did other things really well. The death of Gwen Stacy was handled really well.
Oh no, that was fabulous. That'll rip your heart out of your chest, man. That was well done. And again, one of the major disappointments of Sony bailing out on the Amazing Spider-Man franchise is that now that they are not going to be able to move forward with that storyline, because carrying the guilt and the heartache of Gwen dying and it's his fault is just gonna wreck Parker. That would have been great for the third movie. Just the emotional depth that they could have plumbed there in the story, and it's gone.
And trying to figure out if it was okay for him to move on, you know, and move on to Mary Jane, and whether it was appropriate to have feelings for another woman after you've lost the person that you care that deeply for.
Yeah, it's all gone.
Yeah,
and it's not even like the movie did badly. It just didn't perform up to what they were hoping for. Dude, shit happens.
Yeah. I mean, the movie still made a hell of a lot of money. So I don't know. In the end, though, this is going to be an excellent step forward for Marvel fans.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And it'll see if it opens up doors, not only for, you know, more Spider-Man films, but, you know, the possibility of even looking at, having Fox look at the situation and go, maybe there is something we can work out where we can kind of cross over.
Maybe, but I don't see that happening. You know, I guess philosophically, it seems to me like Sony and Fox are like diametric opposites. Whereas Sony will cut and run at the first sign of trouble, Fox almost belligerently forges ahead, even when they're making absolutely terrible films that are not only critically panned, but nobody's going to see them. Like Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
You know, even after the first Fantastic Four film, they should have just went, all right, let's retool this.
Let's stop.
Things have gone wrong. Because nobody's scared of Dr. Doom. And with a name like Doom, people should be fucking scared of you, man.
Yeah.
But yes, it was bad.
Well,
that awful suit that they had Michael Chiklis in, and Michael Chiklis is a good actor. It pains me to have to watch him in that orange rubber suit, like he's this. It's hard to articulate how much that just hurt my heart. Really, it's like seriously, I expected him to kind of turn off camera and be like, "Was that all right, Mr. Corman? Do you want me to dance around like a monkey for you a little bit?" Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you referenced the 1990s.
Yes, because it was that goddamn bad.
Actually, I think the Roger Corman film was better.
Well, comparatively speaking, they did more with less money.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I never understood that. Hopefully with the new Fantastic Four, I don't know. The new Fantastic Four.
Well, all right. Here's how we really illustrate the difference between Fox and what Marvel does. When Marvel comes out and says, we're going to make Guardians of the Galaxy, there's that moment of, ooh, really? That's... Alright, well, let's see what happens. And you come away happy. I was unsure about Guardians of the Galaxy when they announced it. I'm unsure about Ant-Man. I was unsure about Thor.
I'm unsure about Ant-Man. I was unsure about Thor. I wasn't really unsure about Guardians of the Galaxy because
until I figured out what the tone was and how they were presenting it. Once they started playing trailers and shit, I was like, all right,
it's Star Wars.
The fears were completely misplaced. This is gonna be fucking awesome. That first trailer, I was in. Absolutely. I
still get goosebumps.
Take my money. On the other hand, but Marvel presents an idea that you're not sure how they're going to do it. How are you going to pull that off? What kind of movie are we going to get? And generally, they knock it out of the fucking park. Mm-hmm. So I have that much confidence in Marvel Studios that I will pay to go to the theater and watch a movie that I'm not entirely sure about how they're going to do it, because I want to see how they made it incredibly fucking awesome. Because generally that's how it comes out. Once ever have I had a bad time going to a Marvel movie. So, now on the other hand, Fox, you just, that's a studio you can't have that kind of fucking blind faith with.
Yeah.
I mean, even at this point, they still, out of everything I've liked about them, at best, it's an 85% movie for me.
Yeah.
Because I really dug Days of Future Past, but there was still stuff that bothered me. Because before, for the X-Men franchise, they were, doing their own original storylines. So I was okay with watching it. Even from the point of, well, just think of it as an alternate universe kind of story thing. Mm-hmm. It's not actual Marvel continuity. Which I was perfectly alright to go with. But, the first movie was good, the second movie was alright, the third movie was fucking Brett Ratner. First Class, yes, Wolverine Origins. But I liked First Class. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed that movie. There was a lot of good stuff going on in there. Even though they did introduce some pretty obvious that motherfucker's dead by the end of the film characters, it was still pretty good. But again, those were all original in-studio stories. Now they're stepping up and trying to do stuff from comics history, from actual Marvel continuity. They're doing Days of Future Past and they're doing Age of Apocalypse. Now is the time when all good little directors and producers need to step up their fucking game, because this is a story that deserves to be done really, really well. Now, I liked their Days of Future Past. That is definitely an 85% movie for me. The biggest overall problem I have is tonally, it doesn't feel epic enough.
Right.
This is a movie that is so important in, mutant continuity that it has to be treated as the make or break event that it is. You've got your regular comic book stories, and then you've got the big stuff. You've got Inferno and Infinity Gauntlet and Days of Future Past and Age of Apocalypse and these super important events. Well, now that the movie studios are trying to produce those super important events, they cannot fuck it up. My problem is it's Fox, and they might fuck it up.
Yeah.
And even if they do fuck it up, they'll forge ahead and think that they did a perfectly good job. You know that company's run by fucking Republicans. Because, seriously, they just squeeze their eyes shut and go, we're doing a great job, everything's fine. Ignore the hatred. Ignore the vitriol. We're okay. It's cool. Everyone loves us. Don't you, rednecks? Yeah. Sorry, I got a little political. And I apologize.
But you got to remember, too, that they tried doing the epic storylines in X-Men 3. It was actually 2 epic storylines, Mutant Massacre and the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah, and they made a mess of both of them.
A slaughter. It's like most places screw up their movies by putting too many villains in their movies. This one put 2 actual full storylines in their movies. You know.
Yes, and tried to run them parallel and made a complete mess of everything.
It was just terrible. Just terrible. So, it's, Fox has really been kind of uneven. And don't get me wrong, the X-Men movies were great for the time when they came out. Because at that time, we had really seen a limited number of good comic book movies.
Oh, yeah, no, when we were kids, we would spend hours spitballing the cast.
Mm-hmm. But, and one of them actually got in. Patrick Stewart.
He should be Professor X. Yeah, who else? Hello, it's Mike again. I just wanted to pop in real quick and say the next week we're going to be talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Tusk. Also, if you happen to be a fan of comedy, go to ChristopherTitus.com and check out his new special, Angry Pursuit of Happiness. I went to the live show at the Barrymore last summer, and it was hilarious. You're going to love his work. He's one of the smartest, funniest guys in the business. He releases a new special every year, and it's all fresh material. He doesn't recycle anything. So please go to ChristopherTitus.com, check it out. It's Angry Pursuit of Happiness, and you can get it in a digital download for under $10. So until next week, you guys have a good one.
Homies, talk about what